Like some of you out there, I'm a boomer. So we probably relate a little bit. And as boomers, I grew up in an average neighborhood with average friends. I went to an average high school, and I led an average life. In high school, I joined the track team, and for 2 years, I came in dead last in every race. It's pretty average. I joined the band, and I held last chair for 4 years. Graduated high school with no accolades, went to college, and pretty much pursued that same motive. Okay, I did intramural sports, I was average, still in the band, still last chair, still got A's and B's, still graduated with no accolades, and then went on to get a job. I continued to run, and my roommate said, hey, you should try one of these 10Ks. I said, oh, yeah, that'd be pretty fun. So I tried it, and again, I was pretty much towards the back of the pack, but it was fun. Then in 1997, things changed a little bit. My niece was diagnosed with leukemia, and being helpless as to what to do, I joined a group called Team in Training, which is a fundraising arm of the Leukemia Society. And the deal was they would train me to run a marathon, which is a little bit above average, as long as I fundraised for them. So I fundraised, and I fundraised $3,000, and I ran the Marine Corps Marathon. And to follow my lot in life, I was pretty average. It took me almost 4 hours to finish the darn thing. One of my running buddies from that, we continued to run, and in 1999, she said, I've always wanted to do an Ironman triathlon before I turned 30. Do you want to do it with me? I said, Tracy, I've watched Wild World of Sports. I watched Julie Moss crawl across the finish line at the Hawaii Ironman while she couldn't stand up and the second place woman beat her. I am not an elite athlete like you. Tracy was an elite athlete. She played field hockey in high school and college and did all kinds of things. So she kept badgering me every week that we ran together. We would meet on Tuesdays. In November, I relented. I said, you really think I can do that? She said, oh yeah, you could do that easily. All right, so I signed up. And then in January, I started swimming a lot, running a lot, and biking a lot. And I also figured out, okay, if I'm gonna do this, then I may as well do some good. So I talked to Mary Ann, the lady that was in charge of Team in Training. I said, am I allowed to fundraise for an event that is not one of your events and use your logo and letterhead? And she said, sure. So I started fundraising, working out. I ended up raising $5,000. And at the end of July of 2000, I was floating in the middle of Mirror Lake in Lake Placid, New York, listening to the final notes of the Star-Spangled Banner. And shortly thereafter, at 7 o'clock in the morning, the cannon went off. And I started swimming. And I swam amongst all kinds of arms and legs and splashing. And I swam for 2.4 miles. Then I got out of the lake. I ran to where my stuff was, changed clothes into my biking gear, and then I biked for 112 miles through the hills of New York around Lake Placid. When I was done with that, I came in, got off the bike, changed into my running clothes, and then I started running. And I ran for 26.2 miles around the hills of Lake Placid. And at about 13 and a half hours after I started, which again is pretty average, I crossed the finish line at about 8:30 p.m. And when I crossed it, I was ecstatic, I was exuberant, I was pretty tired. And then after all of those emotions were done, I was confused. I was really confused. I was back at our hotel, and all I kept thinking was, how the hell did I ever do that? I'm an average kid that really never could do things like that. And here I am, 43 years old, and if you would have told the 17-year-old kid that he was gonna run, swim, and bike 140.6 miles, he probably would have said, you're nuts. So who knew? But then again, I also started thinking on the way that I was driving here and thinking about this. Who knew that on August 20th, I would tell that story in front of people I don't even know in York, Pennsylvania. So I guess the point is, you never know.